Hey guys, have I here, and I'm excited to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing the episode reviews for the English dub for Dragon Ball Super. I'm really excited about it, and this the Dragon Ball Super English dub just dropped today, and of course I've been watching Dragon Ball all my life, and of course I've been watching the Japanese episodes from when starting in 2015, and then now the U.S. finally gets the English dub, and I'm really excited about it. So let's get started with the episode one review. A peacetime reward, who gets 100 million Zeni. And the episode starts off really interesting. Actually, I want to talk about the intro music. They kept the Japanese version, which was awesome. I'm very happy they actually did that. However, they did cut it up and made it shorter. And I'm guessing because the United States has a longer commercial time, they're gonna have to cut something. So rather than cutting internal content, they're cutting the intro and then also the outro as well. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. So the episode starts with them kind of reviewing the end of Dragon Ball Z. And Super takes place in between the 10-year gap of the end of the Majin Buu arc and when they do the tournament with Oob. So that's that 10-year gap there, and they did a really quick review, and they're really just reintroducing you to all the characters and the personalities. That's really what this episode was all about. So it really starts with really some comedy, and the comedy really is Goku, a farmer. This Mr. Hero who's done so much for the Earth that no one really knows about. He is a farmer trying to make ends meet to help his family. Chi-Chi's like, you gotta go work. And it begins with him farming and Goten bringing him lunch, a huge lunch, of course. And he starts to, chow down on it. It's a really great scene here where Goku starts to choke on his food. Goten starts patting his back. And, after he finishes with lunch, he allows Goten to, take over the tractor, drive it around. And he actually, Goku begins to train. He actually goes Super Saiyan and begins kind of like fighting and doing his moves and kind of training by himself. Goten is distracted by this and falls off a cliff and almost kind of kills himself. I don't know how he would kill himself, but he should actually just pulled the tractor up and flew with it. But of course, Goku, being the hero, saves Goten and says, hey Goten, you can't blindly drive the tractor, and you're gonna get hurt. And Goten's like, well, you're training. It's hard for me to do that without being distracted. And Goku's like, yeah, I really just want to train with King Kai, but your mom won't let me. Goten has a great line of, yeah, I think mom's like one of the most powerful people in the world. So it's just really nice comedy, and also reintroducing you to the personalities of Goku, Goten, and everyone. So after this scene, it cuts to actually the introduction of some new characters if you don't follow Dragon Ball Super or actually didn't see the movies. Introducing you to the God of Destruction, Beerus, on this different planet, trying to feed Beerus some good food. It was okay food, so Beerus ended up actually just destroying half the planet. So it's a really quick introduction, and if you haven't watched Super or don't know about these characters, it would be kind of tough for you to kind of understand this part because it was really quick. Whis is there. It's a really quick scene. But it does give you a little bit of personality that, hey, you know what, they're looking for delicacies, they're looking for food, which is a big part of Whis and Beerus, and that's really their introduction. So, after that, we go into the scene where Hercule. It's actually, I'm sorry, not Hercule. It's actually Mr. Satan. So they actually kept Mr. Satan in on this. So it's, Mr. Satan's kind of everywhere. So it's kind of hard to say Hercule. But I think what I've heard is they are going to bring Hercule if it goes syndicated or or across the U.S., things of that nature. They did do a dub with the name Hercule in it. So, but right now it's Mr. Satan, and I'm glad that they kept Mr. Satan. So Mr. Satan is amongst all this TV program, getting introduced, getting awarded the savior of the world once again. And then Majin Buu comes storming in. People are like, "Oh, who's that? Who's that guy?" And Majin Buu's like, "Oh, I'm hungry. Feed me now. Feed me now." And Mr. Satan's like, "Oh, well, I can't feed you now." He's like, "Who?" Everyone's like, "Who's this guy?" He's like, "Oh, he's my disciple." And just like Mr. Satan does, he spins it and says, "Yeah, he's just a disciple of mine, a pupil of mine." And he screams at Majin Buu, and luckily Majin Buu, he's like, he blows a gasket, and luckily Majin Buu says, he kind of just goes back to the room. And then it's cut to Mr. Satan saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Boo. I'm so sorry. I love you. Don't be mad at me. I'll get you anything. I'll feed you anything." So it's really funny. He eats crow once again, but he saves face in front of the public. Once again, this is another storyline, reintroduction to these characters, their main personalities. So after that, it cuts to Mr. Satan's daughter, Vidal, who is married now to Gohan, and Gohan is getting this nice book from Vidal, another present from their wealthy family. And Gohan's like, you always buy me stuff, but Vidal's like, "Oh, just as long as you become a scholar, I'll be very happy." So once again, really quick scene, giving you guys their personality style, their background there. So then it cuts to actually Go 10, talking to Trunks, saying, "Hey, you know what? I need to give a gift, a wedding gift to my sister-in-law Vidal." And Trunks is like, "Well, what do you want to get her?" And they try to come up with some ideas. They go to a jewelry store. They go through other things. They're kind of searching around, and they overhear this angry guy talking about like facial cream and facial water and stuff like that. And the kids call it toilet water. And they're like, "Oh, let's go get some toilet water." And I guess in the French word is like et tu toilet or something like that. So they go to the spring, and it's actually kind of a quick side story. And they go to the spring, and they come up against this snake, and without this there really wouldn't be any fighting. So the scene is just all about just putting a little bit of action. The kids get in trouble. The snake comes out, tries to attack them. Of course they're no match for the kids. Trunks actually takes care of the snake, while they're like throwing the jar back and forth of the spring water, and of course the snake is defeated. So they end with them saving the water. They're getting the water, and then they go to Vidal's house. Go 10 gifts this toilet water to Vidal. Vidal realizes it's just plain water, nothing special, and she's humble enough and thankful enough to say, "Oh, that's great, thank you for the gift." And once again, bringing back those personality styles, and it's a really nice family scene here, and a great little kind of mini story. And like I said, without that little fight scene, there would have been really not much action. So it's kind of really in the conclusion of this, where the title says, "Hey, who gets the 100 million Zeni?" Herco comes out of his fancy car and says, "Hey, Goku, I got this 100 million Zeni for saving the world, but I really didn't do anything. I know that you did it, but everyone thinks that I did it. So I need to give it to you." And Goku's like, "Oh, I can't take it." He's like, "You gotta take it. I try to give it to Vegeta. Vegeta doesn't want it, because he's married into the richest family, with Bulma's family. I have all the money in the world. I really don't need it. I want you to take it." And Goku's like, "Oh, I can't take it." And this scene kind of shows a little bit how naive and stupid Goku is. And he's like, "Well, how much is 100 million Zeni? Is it more than 100,000?" He's like, "Yeah, it's like 1,000. He's like, "Oh my goodness, I can't take this." But then Goten reminds Goku, "Well, if you do take this, Mom Chi-Chi might let you train." He's like, "Oh, you know what? That might be right. Yeah, okay, and it's all about training, right? All about getting stronger." And he goes ahead and takes the money, takes the Zeni, and we cut to the scene where Goku gives the money to Chi-Chi. He's like, "Oh, here you go," and she's all excited, 100 million Zeni, and "Oh, I'm gonna send go tend to the private best schools, all that good stuff." And Goku's like, "Hey, can I train now?" And she's like, "Oh, you can do whatever you want. Just drop by here and there." He's like, "Oh, thank you," and he just bounces. He just leaves, which is really, really funny. And that's really Goku's personality. He's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna go train with King Kai." So he leaves, and there's a really quick scene again with Master Roshi just coming out of nowhere. Oh my goodness, you got 100 million Zeni. We could buy so much, nude magazines and porn and stuff like that. Once again, reintroducing you to the character of Mr. Roshi, the pervert. So, and Chi-Chi just blows a gasket and chases Roshi away. So, the final scene is really where reintroduction of Kabito Kai and Elder Kai, and they look up into the sky saying, "Huh, man, what's going on? There's another planet that got destroyed, and they're probably, well, actually we know, of course, as Dragon Ball fans, not probably, but we know that they're talking about, Beerus, the Lord of Destruction. So, so that really concludes and ends episode 1. And I've said the word reintroduction many a times in this, and that's really what this episode is all about. Reintroducing all the characters and their main personality styles, and who they are to the viewers. If you haven't watched Super before, you kind of get an idea. If you really don't follow Dragon Ball anymore, you still kind of get an idea of who these characters are. And they did a good job. So I really give it a 3.5 stars. Now, the reason why I gave it a 3.5 stars was because I know what's coming. I know what a 5-star episode looks like. I know what 4-star episode looks like. So it's a solid 3.5 star episode for episode 1. The next episode is going to be really fantastic. But one thing to mention is the outro. They also cut that as well. They don't have the preview for the next episode, which kind of is disappointing because that really is a really great part of Dragon Ball Z, where, hey, next episode, right? So hopefully they don't do away with that, and we see that in the Blu-ray. So really, this is my first episode review of Dragon Ball Super, the English dub, and hope to see you next time in the next review. And I hope you enjoyed it. Leave comments below. Love to have the discussion with you and what your thoughts are. You guys have a good rest of your day. See you next time.